compared comparing the Bible, compare my reading the Bible to what I've been taught of what is in the Bible, I realize that it's two completely different things. And that's why I say all the time, it is important. It is important to read stuff for yourself and try to understand stuff for yourself rather than have people just chuck things on you and chuck things down your throat with you never spending a minute of the day to read it. You just take it as gospel and keep on moving. I am one of those people. Some people say rebellious. Some people say I don't know if me being anything near rebellious, but I am nosy like that. I want to read what is given to me. Because when I was given the Bible, nobody said, read this book and make up your mind whether or not you want to go with what is in this book. Nobody had ever said that. They said, see the Bible here, read it. Whatever it is, it's in the Bible. Whatever you want to know about life, it's in the Bible. Everything is in the Bible. And I don't know about the rest of y'all, but when you give me a book like that and you say, all my life is supposed to be based on this book, I gotta read it. This is my second go round of reading the Bible. The first time I read the Bible, I was a teenager. At that time, I really didn't have as much purpose in reading it as I do now. Because back then, I was just sort of trying to figure out myself. And I just decided, since my eyes are always in a book, why held up my eyes in the Bible and see what's in there. So I had read it then. I think at that time I probably just called the words, really, because I didn't give it as much thought as I do now, you know. So so here I am. I am reading the Bible again, and this time I have chosen to share it with y'all. So y'all can follow along in your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one you have. You may follow along. Now, I do not oppose to people, you know, sharing a text, some kind of literature that they had read before that could support or refute any conclusion of mine. But what I do not and will not appreciate is people coming on here trying to tell me I'm crazy, I'm stupid, whatever. Y'all use all kinds of words you all want to use. And that tells me that when people come out for me and I'm a heathen and I'm going to hell and all these foolishness that you all come out with, it tells me that you all are behaving just like the Bible. Because in the Bible, there is a lot of intolerance. Yes, a lot of intolerance of neighbors, a lot of debauchery, a lot of, yeah, wars and fightings. And uh, I see so far, I'm at the book of Nahum, I'm going to be reading this morning. And I cannot count on one hand. Sam, what's up? Good morning, my love. I cannot count on one hand the number of times when peace was the order of the day, when it was said to refrain from war. I can count on one hand when that was encouraged. Quite to the contrary of what happened in the Bible. But guess what? every single war, lie, blasphemy, whatever it is, they did it in the name of their God. So, y'all not surprise me, but please don't come over here with it. Because this is my page, my channel, and my journey. All right? So, with that being said, I'm going to share with you that some of the things that I've come across in the Bible. Not too many, but a few things that I have come across. You know how the Bible talks about false prophets, and I certainly understand why why the children of Israel in the Bible were as confused as they were, not knowing which direction to go. Why? Number one, they were being led and they were being given instructions originally by an individual who wasn't even following the instructions that he was giving the people, but he controlled them with fear. So out of fear, the people followed along like sheep. As the years went by, that was the mode of operation. Fear, fear, fear. Do this or else. Do this or else. Do as I say, but not as I do, because I have the authority, so you will face consequences. And don't you dare question me about what I do. As the years went by, as I have, according to the readings, more and more prophets arose in the Jewish community. Yes, and I did say the Jewish community. People like to come at me when I say that, but of course, the Bible is a Jewish book. The Bible is written from a Jewish perspective. Every single author of each book in the Bible was a Jew. This is all about the Jews, the descendants of Jacob. Talk about stuff that I've discovered in the Bible. Jacob, talking about Jacob. Now, y'all remember the story of Esau and Jacob? You remember that Jacob was the one who stole Esau's birthright? Yet Jacob was the one who got the blessing, according to the Bible. I don't know if y'all have ever wondered how come, but I have. I have wondered how comes. How comes the one who was deceitful, the one who was crooked, the one who was, I'm going to call it the thief, becomes the one who was praised, the one who was chosen, the one, the one who is supposed to lead the world, is supposed his descendants are supposed to lead the world and be multiply beyond measure and conquer and lead. Have you all ever wondered about that? Well, you don't have to, because this is my journey, right, Corella? How are you doing, my sister? Good to see you, Shaz. And who is this coming at the place? That's a cocky 73. Big fish. Yeah, roll up in the place. All right. All right. Swim around. And Spicy Scorpio, Cynthia. Who the world is this? Oh, and you, Justin. How this Chevin Wallace. Weren't you Justin Murray? Weren't you Justin Murray? Weren't you Justin Murray? Really? How Murray show about again? How Murray show about? Amari say you are not the daddy. I'm a set a configured pit there, not one of them have to ask who are them daddy. Move up from there. Get out of here. Never. Never. Will never happen. So move out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, that's that's how the like to come up here, come out for people. Get out of here. You understand? Go leave that with your mama. Never. Never in a million years. So get out of here with that mess. But anywho, I don't pay attention to idiots anyway. So let us keep on moving. Let me continue with my journey here as it is. Let us continue on my journey here, guys. The book of Nahum. If you have your book Bible or your book Bible, please follow along with me as we read this book here. And let's see what is going on with Nahum. Now, Nahum was one of those minor prophets. Nahum was one of those minor prophets. There were, I believe, 12 of them. And just before you finish the Old Testament, you find the book of Nahum along with the other minor prophets, Jonah, Obadiah, Habakkuk, etc., etc. So if you don't know where to find the book of Nahum, just go around past Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, around there, and you will find it right after the book of Micah. You will find the book of Nahum. All right? And let us see what Nahum has to say, what he has documented. Because remember, guys, as I had told you all before, the the Bible is, as far as I know, according to what I have read and understood from what I have read, the Bible was not written by inspiration. Rather, these people documented what they believed to have been their experiences. Whether it was real or not, that is up for debate. But they documented what they believed to have been their experience. They documented what they dreamt, how they interpreted their dreams. They documented their experiences at war. Remember, at that time, during the establishment of the children of Israel, there was a lot going on with them. You notice that the Bible does not document the lives of the other people who existed. It only documents the life of the descendants of Jacob. You all realize that, right? Okay. So with that, we understand that there were other civilizations around. There were other people living on the earth. But the Bible does not talk about how they lived, how their existence mattered. It does not talk about them being worthy of existing at all. Only the descendants of Jacob. It certainly talks about the fights that the children of the descendants of Jacob had to endure just to establish themselves in the region. Because remember, the I don't want to go back that far to where it all started. We're going to start at them being in Egypt. Remember, they were in Egypt as slaves. They had a desire to escape slavery. So, I compare it to like the civil rights movement. That's how I compare it. You can compare it how you want, but since this is my journey, you are just listening to me and my frazzles. It's has nothing to do with you. So I compare it to like the civil rights movement. Here are the people who are brought forcefully out of the mother continent into this new world, and they're being forced into slavery. Don't you think they had a desire to get out? Of course, yes. They had a desire to get out from underneath this bondage, from being whipped, from being forced to do what they don't want to do, from being forced to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, starting in the fields, from being forced to have all these children, even if they don't want to, so that the masters can have more hands to work, from being forced, from being murdered, they wanted to escape that life. And so we saw where the movement started for the abolition of slavery, for our people to be free, right? There was a strong desire for our freedom. And so there were people who were willing to go in the front of the battle to fight for our freedom, while there were others who were support staff, I would say. And to me, I look at it as the same thing with the children of Israel having been in Egypt as slaves. There was a strong desire to escape that slavery, to escape being seen as a second class citizen, to escape, to have a place for themselves where they can establish their own society and live the way they want to with 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 their own government and not being governed by an outside entity. That's how I see it. So with that desire, Moses decided that, okay, I am going to lead the charge here. For Moses to lead the charge, you think he could just go and say to the people, you know what? I think we should go. Do you think the people would have gone behind him if he had just said, you know what? I think I should take you all across the sea into the wilderness? No. He had to say, the Lord said you all should follow me. Have you all ever listened online to one of those preachers who are determined to get all the way in your pocket? Yeah. The pocket pastors. Everybody say, Lord, Lord, Lord. The Lord says, the Lord says, the Lord says, the Lord says. How come the Lord is talking to them but not talking to you? You ever ask yourself that question? Me and God not in a malice. If God got anything to tell me, I'm sure He gonna tell me. Why He gotta tell you to tell me? Eh? He don't gotta tell you to tell me. But then we understand that there are prophets and then there are prophets. Did Moses have an objective? Yes, he did. He had an objective to get his people out of slavery, out of Egypt, to get them to have their own government, to establish themselves, have their own country, because everybody else around them had their own country. Egypt and Syria and everybody else had their own country, their own government, and they didn't. So they wanted to establish their own government, their own country. And that is where I believe the initial thought of leaving Egypt to go find a place across the River Jordan for themselves began. Just my view. That's how I see it. Okay? And we notice that after the children of Israel left Egypt and traveled across the sea, as they said, the sea parted, they went across the sea, a 3-day journey rather, that took them 40 years. Gone into the wilderness of Zin and went around and around and around and around for 40 years before eventually emerging out of the wilderness and slaying those people and capturing those lands, destroying whole cities and capturing those lands and setting themselves up as the new kids on the block. And the smaller countries that were around were overtaken by them. The whole cities were destroyed and burnt, and they took over. This led to a lot of animosity, but from the other people around them. Because remember, according to the Bible, it said there were many, and the people, especially the smaller countries, were afraid. Everybody was arming themselves and saying, this whole army of people who have come out of Egypt, they are coming. They are taking over. And they are so many that nobody can stand up to them. That was true. And after they had established themselves in the region, captured a lot of land, established themselves at a whole dynasty in the region, then it all started to crumble. It all started to fall apart. And in my estimation, based on what I have read, the destruction came from within more than it came from outside. And some people ask me why I've come to that conclusion. I just choose to share it with you, why I've come to that conclusion. You see, there were so many prophets amongst the Jewish people. There were so many prophets that when they gave advice, the leaders were not sure who was right or who was wrong, whose direction really came from the Lord or whose was just man-made. They couldn't tell. But it was based on who you liked. Who you liked, so you go with their advice. whose advice was favorable to you, so you go with that advice. Case in point. Do y'all remember the story of Ahaz, the king of Israel? Let me run that story by you a little bit. So Ahaz was the king of Israel, Jehoshaphat the king of Judah. Now remember, the city had been divided by this time. Jehoshaphat went to Ahaz. Say, Ahaz, if you don't know the story, you can go read it in the 1 Kings 22, I believe it was. It is. Jehoshaphat goes to Ahaz and he says to Ahaz, listen, it's been 3 years since we haven't had a good fight with the Syrians, you know. Overton is here. Overton, bless up your nice clean self. How you doing? Good morning to you, my love. Good to see you. Good to see you as always. So I'm going to run this story by y'all. The story of Ahaz and Jehoshaphat. So Jehoshaphat was the king of Judah. Ahaz was the king of Israel. Now Jehoshaphat went down to Ahaz to say, listen, man, it's been 3 years since we haven't had a fight with the Syrians. Now, don't forget that Ramoth Gilead belongs to us. Our forefathers died and left that land for us. That land belongs to Israel. The Syrians have been in possession of it for a while. Don't you think it's time we go fight them? A 3 year now, we don't fight them for it, you know. We need to go fight them for it. But you all know that in the Bible, whatever it is they are going to do, they always consult with the prophets. So Ahaz agreed with Jehoshaphat. But he said, yeah, before we do this, let me ask my servants and the prophets what they think about it. He asked the servants said, yeah, man, we're ready. We are going to fight them for the land. He asked the 400 prophets. The prophets all chorused, yes. The Lord said them to go up, go fight Ramoth Gilead. They will win the battle. Jehoshaphat turned to him and said, listen, how comes all of them, all these prophets, all 400 of them say God say yes if we go up go fight? Nobody no say no. You don't know no other prophet. Ahaz says, yeah, man, I know a prophet down the road named Micaiah. But me no want hear nothing from Micaiah because Micaiah don't like me and I don't like him. I have never asked him to prophesy anything for me and him prophesied in my favor. He never prophesied nothing in my favor. So I don't like him. Jehoshaphat said, don't say that. Maybe you need to consult him and see what he has to say. So reluctantly, he called for Micaiah. When Micaiah came, he asked Micaiah what do you think God is saying about them wanting to go fight the Syrians for Ramoth Gilead. Micaiah says to him, in my vision, just like Martin Luther said, I have a dream. Micaiah says, in my vision, I see Israel on the children of Israel on the mountains of Israel without a shepherd. I see them wandering on the mountains of Israel without a shepherd. What that means is that if you go to war, your leader will not be coming back. So you're going to be without a leader. And that angered Ahaz. Ahaz said, see what me tell you? So this man never prophesied anything good about me. Okay? So they threw Micaiah in prison. Because if you ask me, all these thousands of years later, after I read that, I concluded that of those 401 prophets, Micaiah was the only true prophet. The other 400 of them were fraud. No, God was talking to them. But Ahaz liked what they were telling him. Okay? Because if you all remember, if you don't know the story, go read it. Ahaz decided against what Micaiah told him. Plumber, what's up? Good morning. How you doing? Ahaz decided against what Micaiah had prophesied. He still determined that he's going at that time to go fight with the Syrians for Ramoth Gilead. And to cut a long story short, we know that he was shot with an arrow and he bled out. Even though he tried to disguise himself by having Jehoshaphat wear his kingly robe, he was still shot and died. They buried him in Samaria. Read it for yourselves. Okay? So that made me conclude that of all those prophets, imagine 401 people and only one is right. Only one was being truthful. Only one was a true prophet. So now, can you imagine all the other people who were listening to the other 400 prophets? Yeah, because prophecies were important part, continues to be an important part of their civilization. Anything you got to do, you had to go consult with a prophet, and the prophet will tell you what God has said. And from that, you make your decision about what you're going to do. If you remember Jeremiah told the people, God told him that they were going to be destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. Drive the fear of the living God in the people that Nebuchadnezzar was going to destroy them. Nebuchadnezzar did come up and he did destroy Israel. But guess what? According to the Bible, according to what we have read, Nebuchadnezzar has never given anything without getting something. Every single time he has given, look at him with David. Yeah. For David interpreting his dream, he gave David, why did I say David? Daniel. For Daniel interpreting his dream, he elevated Daniel to being a governor. Remember, Daniel was a slave, a Jewish slave. Okay? Nebuchadnezzar doesn't give away anything for free. He give you for something, for some reason. You got to give him something. But do you all remember that after he destroyed Israel? Y'all remember what he did for Jeremiah? The same Jeremiah who told the people, God said they should go down to Babylon and go worship like the Babylonians worship, and go live down there, plant their farms, and let the Babylonian daughters marry their sons, and the Babylonian sons marry their daughters. Yeah, go live amongst them. Jeremiah told the people God said that. Because if you ask me, and nobody did, but I love to give my opinions even when I'm not asked. Jeremiah was working undercover for Nebuchadnezzar. That's my conclusion. Because after Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Israel and installed a new governor, he ordered the governor to protect Jeremiah at all cost. What was it worth to Nebuchadnezzar to protect Jeremiah? He was repaying Jeremiah for what Jeremiah had done for him. For Jeremiah having told the people, God said they must go down there. Those who refused to go were like sitting ducks waiting for Nebuchadnezzar's army to come up and destroy them. Jeremiah preached and told the people God said they should come back, come set up their thrones around Israel. The people came back, set up their thrones around Jerusalem, set up themselves there. It was a way of bringing back more people for Nebuchadnezzar to have to target. Imagine you move abroad and you living abroad, and there is this prophet that arises up in Jamaica and say, God say, everybody who left Jamaica and moved go to foreign must come back. And then you move back out of fear because the person said the Lord says so. And you move back. And then the next thing you know, a guerrilla war broke out. And when the guerrilla war break out, you die. What you think the few people who live after that are gonna say? Like, aren't they gonna question this person who had made this prophecy that the Lord said everybody must come back? Well, so was the case with Jeremiah. And that is why the people lost confidence in him. And the people told him they don't want to hear nothing from him no more. Because they realized that what Jeremiah was telling them could not have been true. And after Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Israel, he gave Jeremiah gifts on top of gifts on top of gifts. And he told the newly installed governor, Gedaliah, to make sure nothing happens to Jeremiah, to give Jeremiah whatever land Jeremiah wants. Jeremiah was a poor mendicant up until this time. But Nebuchadnezzar ordered the governor give Jeremiah whatever Jeremiah wanted. How much land, orange grove, grape orchard, whatever it is that Jeremiah wanted, he instructed them to give him, make sure Jeremiah is safe. What was the incentive for Nebuchadnezzar to ensure that Jeremiah was safe? I'm going to leave that question right there. You can go read your good Bible yourself and make that determination for yourself. But as for me, that's it. Welcome into the live, guys. Thank you all so much for coming. You are in the live of Church from Treversant on the Tube and the Talk, where I am sharing with you all my journey of reading the Bible from the beginning to the end. This morning, we are going to be reading the book of Nahum. Let us begin. And no soon tell me to chat too much. But as my granny Nita would have said, my mouth and my market, and me chat over anybody cocoa basket. If you don't like hear it, keep it moving. Plumber, good morning to you, my love. How are you doing? Good to see you. Let us move right along. The burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum, the Elkoshite. God is jealous, and the Lord revenges. The Lord revenges and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserves wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebukes the sea and maketh it dry, and dries up all the rivers. Bashan languishes, and Carmel, and the flower of Lebanon languish. The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burnt at his presence. Yea, the world and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his indignation? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. The Lord is good, a strong, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. But with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. What do we imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. For while they be folded together as thorns, and while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. There is one come out of thee that imagines evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor. Thus saith the Lord, though they be quiet, and likewise many, yet, thus shall they be cut down, when he shall pass through. Though I have afflicted thee, I will afflict thee no more. For now will I break his yoke from off thee, and will burst thy bonds in sunder. And the Lord hath given a commandment concerning thee, that no more of thy name be sown. Out of the house of thy gods will I cut off the graven image and the molten image. I will make thy grave, for thou art vile. Verse 15. Michibu is here. Michibu, bless up a nice clean self, sis. How are you doing? Verse 15, and this is the last verse of chapter 1 of the book of Nahum. Behold, upon the mountains the feet of him that brings good tidings, that publishes peace. O Judah, keep thy solemn feasts, perform thy vows, for the wicked shall no more pass through thee. He is utterly cut off. That's the end of Nahum chapter 1. And we're going to move on to Nahum chapter 2. You are welcome to follow along in your book Bible or your Google Bible. Okay? Nahum chapter 2. He that dashes in peace is come up before thy face. Keep the munition, watch the way. Make thy loins strong, fortify thy power mightily. For the Lord hath turned away the excellency of Jacob, as the excellency of Israel. For the emptiers have emptied them out, and marred their vine branches. Verse 3. Hold on there, people. This is not right. What just happened there? Okay, let's continue. Verse 3 of chapter 2. The shield of his mighty men is made red. The valiant men are in scarlet. The chariots shall be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation, and the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. The chariots shall rage in the streets. They shall jostle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like the lightnings. He shall recount his worthies. They shall stumble in their walk. They shall make haste to the wall thereof, and the defense shall be prepared. The gates of the river shall be opened, and the palace shall be dissolved. And Huzab, shall be led away captive. She shall be brought up, and her maids shall lead her as with the voice of doves, tabering upon their breasts. But Nineveh is of old like a pool of water, yet they shall flee away. Stand, stand, shall they cry, but none shall look back. Take ye the spoil of silver, take the spoil of gold, for there is none end of the store, and glory out of all the pleasant furniture. She is empty and void and waste, and the heart melts, and the knees smite together, and much pain is in all loins, and the faces of them all gather blackness. Where is the dwelling of the loins, and the feeding place of the young lions, where the lion, even the old lion, walked, and the lions whelp, and none made them afraid? The lion did tear in pieces enough for his whelps, and strangled for his lionesses, and filled his holes with prey, and his dens with raven. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and the sword shall devour thy young lions, and I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of thy messengers shall no more be heard. Thank you so much, Zaki. Oh, Michibu said me lay down listening. Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And for those of you who are over here, we are also streaming. We are also streaming on the tube. And those of you on the tube, we are also streaming on the top. Okay? Let us continue with the book of Nahum. We are reading the last chapter, chapter 3 of the book of Nahum. So read along with me, guys. Chapter 3 says, Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departs not. The noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifts up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses. And this is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. Does that sound like a dead yard to you? That sound like Joseph is here. Good morning, Jojo. How are you doing? Good to see you. AG is here. AG, what's up? Koya, AG, you know somebody's supposed to text you back. Oh my gosh, poor me. How you doing, my love? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, 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 guys. Uno just waking up or no just forwarding? Which is it? Either way, it no matter. As long as you are here, I say welcome. Thank you all so much for joining me. We are on the book of Nahum Joseph. Where Winsome is. Where is Winsome? We are onto the book of Nahum. And we are reading the last chapter, chapter 3 of the book of Nahum. Now you see, guys, these minor prophets, they didn't seem like they had written too much, or either that they had not written too much, or whatever they wrote was watered down, because the Bible has been revised, you know, over the years. So I don't know if they just put these 3 chapters, if this was all Nahum had to say, because they say much. I mean, the others, the same. Obadiah had a little bit to say. 1 chapter work. Jonah had a little bit to say. Yeah, all of these are the prophets right here. Just a little bit to say. Joel and Amos and all of them had not too much to say. Their prophecy was not too much. But sometimes you say a little bit and it's more powerful than the person who stays there yapping all day and really saying nothing. But anywho, we're going to move right along into the book of Nahum chapter 3. Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departs not. The noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifts up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. And there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. Because of the multitude of the whoredom, of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that sells nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. And I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? Art thou better than Populus? Art thou better than Populus? No, that was situate among the rivers, that had the waters round about it, whose rampart was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength, and it was infinite. Put and Lubim were thy helpers. No, apparently that was the name of a place called Put. Yet was she carried away. She went into captivity. Her young children also were dashed in pieces at the top of all the streets, and they cast lots for her honorable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. Thou also shalt be drunken. Thou shalt be hid. Thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first ripe figs. If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars. Draw thee waters for the siege. Fortify thy strongholds. Go into clay and tread the mortar. Make strong the brick kiln. There shall the fire devour thee. The sword shall cut thee off. It shall eat thee up like the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the locust. Thou hast multiplied thy merchants above the stars of heaven. The cankerworm spoileth and flieth away. Thy crowned, verse 17 says, thy crowned are as the locusts, and thy captains as the great grasshoppers, which camp in the edges in the cold day. But when the sun ariseth, they flee away, and their place is not known where they are. What a piece, what a piece of an insult. But let us continue. Verse 18 says, thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. Thy nobles shall dwell in the dust. Thy people is scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathered them. Verse 19, and this is the last verse of the book of Nahum, the last verse of chapter 3. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap their hands over thee. For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? Now, this is Nahum's prophecy for the Syrians. Now, remember, the hatred between the Syrians and the Jewish people never ceased. The Syrians were good at coming to conquer. They were good at coming to steal land. They were very good at it. From in the time of David, David understood that for Israel to be a powerhouse in the region, they needed lots of land. And if you remember, having read the earlier books of the Bible, when David was the king of Israel, David and the Syrian king at the time were friends. And so they had a great working relationship in the region. When David wanted additional men for his army, the Syrians would help him out and send him soldiers. When the Syrians wanted help, David would help them out. And now, this kind of relationship, you don't expect those kinds of relationships to last. Why? Those relationships don't last. Different generations come and take over. Because when the Syrian king who lived during David's time, after he died and his son took over, his son was favorable to Solomon because he said, your dad and my dad were friends. But when Solomon handed over to his son Rehoboam, it was no longer so. Rehoboam, him was a little bit too, yeah, he was a little bit too cocky. He took advice from the people his age. He never did to respect the elders. And per the Jewish custom, you have to respect your elders. You have to listen to what your elders say because your elders know more. They know better. They will tell you what to do based on tradition and based on experience. You can't listen to the youth because the youth who are your age, I'm not really know anything. But Rehoboam, him was a little bit hard-headed, a little bit. Yeah. Taking advice from the people who were his age rather than the elders. So as time went on, from him on downwards to uh, his his son, who he handed the kingdom to, you notice that Israel sort of lost its power in the region because of the divisions and the land grab. Them and Syria been fighting for years for land. For years, they've been fighting over land. Israel fight, win the land over. Then the Syrians come up, build up an army, they come, they fight, they get it back. Fight, take it away, fight, get it back. This has been constant per the Bible. Remember, son of me make it up, per the Bible. The wars have been constant. Now here, Nahum is another frustrated Jewish prophet. And he is prophesying that Israel is going to rise up again. Israel is going to be strong again. And Israel is going to be able to destroy the Syrians and regain custody of their lands that the Syrians have taken over and called their own. Nahum is not alone in his sentiment, in his desire to have his people regain what they believe to be theirs. Lands that their foreparents had fought for and had died for. He is not alone. You will notice that all these prophets around here that we've been reading of, that seems to have been the one common desire amongst them for their community to be reestablished, for the lands. You see, appear land fighting, it's all fighting over land. And they have this common desire amongst them for countries like Syria for them to be victorious in war over countries like Syria so that they can regain custody of their land that the Syrians had taken. You all think those wars down there in the Middle East is ever going to end? I hate to be pessimistic, but it's all of biblical proportions. It is not going to end. It's probably going to, be silent for a little bit, but it's going to come back again. It's like this recurring sore in modern civilization that will never end, that will never heal. Because from back then, the people there not as did not receive the children of Israel with open arms. They didn't. But over time, they were able to live there, establish themselves, and it seemed like people lived in peace because, David, he was very cordial and he was favored by a lot of people around him, a lot of the leaders around him. He was favored by, so there wasn't too much antagonism going on where David was concerned. And David was very charismatic, and he understood the power of the land and the power of wealth. And that's why he built up that huge dynasty down there for Israel, making them so powerful in the region. But after his death and the subsequent ascension to the throne of his grandsons and great grandsons, we see where we see where Israel really just dwindled away. The other countries came around, they took the land, they they slaughtered the people, they took over the temples, broke down the temples, stole everything that was of value, destroyed everything. And even now, the struggle for them continue, for them to reestablish themselves, regain their lands that they had lost over the years, and be able to basically to live in peace. There's going to be no peace because one side is going to say this is their land, and the other side is going to say this is their land. Believe me, I just wish the current war down there would end, but we know otherwise it is not going to end. But we see where it is all coming from the Bible. It's not just something that spurred up in October of 2023. It's not something new. It is and will forever, it seems to me, as though there will forever be a war and wars in that region. Sad to say, they say that in that region is supposedly the holiest place on earth. That much for all that holiness, right? With all that war and bloodshed. Mm, mm, holy indeed. Hmm. But anyway, Sister Winsome, how comes you're just coming? Winsome, you see, you Winsome. You see, you now, Sister Winsome, me can't bother with you. Remember yesterday you said, Trev, you need to give me a schedule because you come when you feel a mine. I say, all right. I don't want Sister Winsome to feel like I come when I feel a mine. I promised you yesterday I'm going to give you the schedule. I posted, I made a post on the tube yesterday giving you the schedule for today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I gave you the schedule. And you didn't come to the Bible reading this morning. Now you asked me if Bible reading finished. Of course we finished, Sister Winsome. You have to go back and listen to it. If you want to listen only to the Bible reading, you gotta go. I think I rambled for about 30 minutes, as always. Oh, you know, you didn't see the schedule I put out? Yeah. After I spoke with you yesterday, I said I'm gonna put out the schedule so that yeah, so that you know exactly what time I'm coming. Because like tomorrow morning when I get off work, I'm definitely not gonna be here at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting off at maybe 7:30, 35, 40, somewhere there. So I'll do the reading tomorrow at about 8 o'clock. Yeah. And people say me need to wait until me reach to Matthew. Me to the New Testament. And I am so anxious to reach the New Testament to see what in the world they are talking about. We're not too far from the New Testament. So we're gonna press the we are going to press metal to metal. That's how it go. Right, when some, yeah, we are. When some chat it out, people. Wanna hear this? Samantha, what's up? When some Tuesday, Tuesday when we read, let me see what we are gonna read. We are gonna read by next weekend. We should be at the New Testament. Why people them say all heap of things in the New Testament when me I go be shocked. And I cannot wait. Yeah. By next week, this time, by next week, Thursday or Friday or so, we should be finished with the Old Testament. Yeah, because Zechariah, no Malachi. Some people say Malachi, some people say Malachi. I don't know which one, whichever one you say. But after Malachi, then we're going to move right into the New Testament. When some you need to stop missing the Bible reading, okay? All right. And then when you come, you blame me. You say me chat. Guys, when some say me chat out the reading, yeah. Then me not have to talk when some. Me have to talk. Me can't just jump on here and just do the reading and then jump off and be gone. Yeah, me have to chat. Me have to spend a little time. Spend a little time with you all. This morning me I chat until 5:30. And then we will move right along into then we will move right along into something else for the day. But with some, I suggest that you go back and listen to the reading of the book of Nahum. Nahum, one of those minor prophets who, like the others, have a strong desire for the enemies to be destroyed and for Israel to be reestablished. He talks about the 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 horses. This is his desire for Syria. The horses to be prancing in the street and bodies to be all over the street and the chariots burnt and the horses slain and everything that makes them victorious over Israel shall be destroyed and burnt. He talks about the fury of his God and the anger and the hatred of his God for the enemies of Israel and all those things, that's what he talks about. So go read it. There isn't too much to unpack because I mean when the US was at war, even though the US is always at war, but when the US was at war, the height of the war in Iraq, there were lots of pastors here. They were praying for victory for the US, for the quote unquote enemy down there to be destroyed, etc., etc., etc. Everybody is going to pray for victory for their interests. And I heard somebody say the other day that God is selective in who he awards victory. And I don't know if I win some. Honestly, honestly, I don't even join in those conversations because in Colossians he say he makes everything good and bad. So therefore, he's responsible for both the good and the bad. We try to say that God is represents all things good and the Satan represents all things bad, but God said he make everything good and bad, that he make Satan as well. So apparently this antagonism is the way for one party to get glory and one party to get damnation. But is the same party. To me, if he says I create everything, I create Satan and I create all things good, all things bad, and the bad things antagonize the good things. Therefore, if he created them both, well, I guess he's all for the antagonism. Is the antagonism supposed to add more glory to him so that when things go your way, you give him glory, and when things don't go your way, you curse the other side of him? I don't know. I really don't know. Because I could live in a world where there is none of the negatives, like, the wars and the lies and the trickery and the thievery. I could live in a world without that. I could live in a world where there is peace among men, where we can have a conversation rather than a confrontation, where we can sit together and drink tea rather than being worried about blood flowing. I could live in a world like that and be just fine. And with or without a Bible, I could live in a world like that. But that's just wishful thinking, because if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. So that, I guess, that wasn't meant to be. Some people say there has to be a balance of good and evil. Um, we do have, it's not a balance, trust me. There's no balance, because it seems as though these days there is more evil to be found than good. There are so many people who are leaning towards the side of evil that you have to ask yourself, where are the good people? Where are the people who have good, pure, clean thoughts? They are hard to find, if ever. Nowadays, you can't trust anybody. You can't trust your parents, you can't trust your children, you can't trust your people who call you friends, you can't trust siblings, you can't trust people who say they are pastors, they are anointed, God has sent them to lead you. You can't trust these people. Who can you trust? You can't trust politicians. Oh Lord, don't even talk about them. You can't trust politicians. You can't trust teachers. You can't trust neighbors. You can't trust anybody these days. You have to have eyes in the back of your head, watching your neighbor with your children, watching your pastor with your children, with your wife, with your husband. You have to be watching your coworker. You have to be, these people. I don't know where the good people are, Joe. I don't know where the good people are, Joseph. Honestly, I don't know where they are, because with people being so deceptive and so cruel, you can't trust anybody. Every day we get on the internet, we see somebody else talking about, we see somebody else talking about some kind of deceit that they had endured from somebody they either call family, friend, lover, neighbor, pastor, whomever. You can't trust people. People just seems to gravitate towards the negatives in this life, and I'm not sure why, but it is what it is, right, Joseph? It is what it is. And when you find that one person that you can trust, even, even when you find that one person you can trust, you are still afraid. You still approach that person with caution, because people can be smiling in your face today, and deep down in their hearts, they really don't like you. They really have nefarious intents, and you don't know it. You don't know it. And some of us never get the chance or the opportunity to discover the devils amongst us. Some of us get the chance to, but some of us never do. Really, Joseph? Really, Joseph? You want win some now? I do not love it over this morning, you know. It's Wednesday morning. Oh, it's Wednesday, hump day. Oh, forgive me. Let me get out of y'all's business. So, guys, back to what I was saying. So I say that if you have come across an individual in your life who you can trust, who has proven themselves to be trustworthy, believe me, you are lucky. Consider yourself to be very lucky and protect protect that individual with everything you got. Because my sister is here. Trina. Good morning, Trina. How are you doing, my love? Good to see you. I knew you were coming, you know. So call me Prophetess Trev now. I knew you were coming. I said, you know what? I know Trina is going to come this morning. I'm not going to leave until she comes. And here you are. Welcome, sis. Welcome. Rod, what's up? How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you, my dear. Doing splendid. I love that. I love that. I want win something now. Trev, drink turmeric tea and ginger. It make you sleep. But winter, me no need for sleep. I drink turmeric in the daytime. Yes, in the mornings I drink my turmeric latte. Yeah. I saw somebody talking about this and talking about that. I saw somebody on here was talking about, oh, you shouldn't mix turmeric with milk. Listen, I am following everything I see on here on the internet, you know. I ain't following everything I see on here because yeah, somebody gonna tell me I can't drink my turmeric with I should put honey in it and not milk. Well, I milk me liking it, you know. Yeah, I like milk in it. And my little cayenne pepper give it that little zing. Yeah, good for you. You don't know me have to drop a little bit of health gem as we go along. Yeah, turmeric. Oh, you drank the turmeric, you make you sleep well last night. Wonderful. Wonderful. Trina says she needs some to lose some belly fat. Yes, the turmeric is good to lose. For those of you who are on your journey to lose weight, but you can't just say you're drinking the turmeric and then I eat one whole heap of food. What, like myself, you know? I'll be drinking my turmeric, and when I am watching my diet and eating properly, I maintain a good weight. But whenever you see I start eating all this junk and baking every other day and eating and drinking the turmeric, it make no sense. The struggle continues. And Joseph says, Joseph says, imagine you are read the Bible and I tell lie. Joseph, Joseph, leave me alone. Uh, Wisdom say I don't drink it with sugar. I drank it yesterday. I mix it with um the ginger. I put the ginger powder in it, turmeric, ginger powder, cayenne pepper, and milk. We usually use condensed milk. You can use whatever you want. I put vanilla in it and nutmeg and cinnamon. Joseph really a mash me up bad. Trina says food is our weakness. Yeah, me too. But you know the funny thing? Sometimes I am in such great control And then other times I'm just like, I wonder if I'm going in and out of depression or something. I don't know. Because sometimes I am eating and I am in control. And then other times I just feel like, you know what? Trev, just eat down the house like a termite. Just eat everything you see. And when there's no more, just bake some more. Bake some more bread. Bake some more cake. Make another potato pudding. And every pass by the kitchen, me take a chunk. And in 24 hours, the big pan of potato pudding done. Done. Joseph, so me sound like me have a cold. I mean, I have no cold, you know. Me not have no cold. Early morning now, you know, Joseph. It's early hours of the morning. Me not crawl out of my bed yet. I just wake up, roll over, and start the reading. Me not crawl out yet and go freshen up myself and all those good things, you know? You know, when you wake up early in the morning, you know how the thing is. Yeah. And a country you grow. Yeah. Before you get out of bed, you know that sound. Yeah, mama, me not have no cold. Me not get sick. What there? She there about here, you know, in some. She hasn't said anything in the chat, but she's here somewhere. Yeah, she's here somewhere. She just a listen. She's in listening mode today. Joseph, I'm a weakness. Yes, Joseph is always. Oh, for those of you over here, we're having a conversation over here on the tube. Yeah, yes, it's Joseph is one of my weaknesses. And AJ, where AJ there? AJ, where they? What part of the world are they? Please be safe wherever you are. I don't want to happen to you, you know. So you please be safe. Yes, guys. So for your little health nugget this morning, make you some turmeric latte. The turmeric will help you with body fat. The turmeric is anti-inflammatory. And don't forget, you cannot eat turmeric by itself. You will not get the full benefits of it. You gotta put it with a little zinger. Put it with some ginger, put it with some cayenne pepper. The cayenne pepper is great for your circulation. Yes, that's good for your circulation. So you're gonna get anti-inflammation and circulatory health when you drink them both. The ginger is good for your gut health. So go ahead and make you a turmeric latte this morning and then tell me tomorrow morning when we get here. You tell me how it works for you, how you like it. Because I love it. Well, I say, all right, now left out all the this. No, Joe, I'm not leaving it out. You know, so when I don't come by the live in the mornings, that's the time when I really don't want to leave. And I don't want to leave this morning, you know. I don't want to leave. I want to stay. But guess what? I'm gonna leave. I'm going to cut off this part of the live because this part of the live is connected to the reading. And when we want to talk, I want to talk to you all. Otherwise, we want to chat. Otherwise, I don't want I don't want it to be embedded with the Bible reading. What you think, Joseph? You think you know, guys, I take advice from Joseph. You know, Joseph has been my partner online forever. Knowing some, we're not reading no more today. We're not reading no more today because all of these books here are very short. All of these little books right here, they are very short. So doing one a day, I think is reasonable. When I read a whole lot, I remember when we were reading like Genesis, I would read like 10 chapters in one sitting. And that's why I mean I remember some of the things that when we read. You know, I mark in the Bible and I write in my little book, but I mean I remember when we read so much at once. Yeah, it's hard to remember and to get full comprehension of the little reading. But I'm right up in this a Bible, yeah, no brother. Yeah, see there? Yeah, so we gotta cut off. Not today. Yes, yes, Joe. We can't mix the two. So we gotta cut off the part that is associated with the Bible, and then we come back and we do the shenanigans. You get what I mean? Yeah. Because despite how you might feel, despite how you might feel about the book here, yeah, we know respect still due. When some, so that's why it takes so long. You must write down things. When some, so every time I'm here reading the Bible, I have my pencil. I'm marking the Bible, some the things that I find to be important as I read along. I mark it. You where say the Bible a take too long? Then the Bible not long when some. It have to take long. Me then in a hurry. Nobody not run me down. Not a soul not running me down. Nobody not have no whip over my shoulder. Except you. But anywho, you understand. Yeah, nobody not have no whip over my shoulder. So I'm taking my time and reading it little by little. No big hurry for just call the words and rushing through it. Yeah, me want to take my time and read it. When we finish read it in the next few months, by say May. This look like it be done by May. By April, May. Yeah, when me finish read it, me I go back and read it again, and this time I go read it slower and incorporate all the other literature that I have read or that people have suggested that I read. We're going to look for the other books of the Bible, the missing books. Of course, we can't find all of them because remember, the Jewish people were very keen. They encouraged in their society, they encouraged that everyone writes their experience, everyone document their experiences. And so there was a lot of writing, lots and lots and lots of writings. If they were to ever put all the Jewish writings in a book, in the Bible, one you could have never finished reading it in a lifetime because all these people were documenting their lives. So when they compiled the Bible, they were selective in whose writings get put in and whose writings didn't. Some of the writings didn't get put in just because they were a repetition of one that was there already. Because people lived around the same time, like Ezra and Nehemiah, you notice their stories are similar. They talked about it was the same king, the same governor, they talked about the same thing. So some of the books were left out, like the book of Nathan. Nathan was around that time as well, and several other books were left out. Maybe because there was somebody's, they were similar to somebody else's writing, and that other person won the bid to have their book in the Bible. No, it wasn't a bid, but in the selection process, they had chosen one book over the other. They couldn't put in everything. But we are still on the hunt for the books. We have discovered some. I discovered the book of Nathan and stuff. We are going to be reading those books and, make a little comparison to the ones that are published in the Bible. Right about now, you just want to reach the finish line. Joseph said, right about now, we just want to reach the finish line. I agree with you, Joseph, but so many people have come on here. So many people have come on here and tell me that if I think I see anything yet, wait until I reach the New Testament. And I am so anxious to reach the New Testament. It's not funny. because I want to see what is it that they're telling me that I need to see in the New Testament. What is in there that's going to flabbergast me so much that they can't wait for me to get there? We will get there, people. Little by little, one chapter at a time, we will get there. We'll get to the New Testament by next weekend. Yeah, by next, not Sunday coming, but the following Sunday. That's March. We should be starting the New Testament. But anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap this part up of the live. We're gonna come back and chat a little bit until daylight out. We're gonna chat a little bit about all that few things that's going on in the news because a lot is going on. All right. So that's going to be it from me for right now, my friends. Thanks to everybody who came into the live on the talk and on the tube. I sincerely appreciate you all. If you missed the Bible reading this morning, we read the book of Nahum. Nahum has only 3 chapters, so it went by pretty quickly. If you care to, you may go back and listen to the reading. But that's where we are going to end this portion of my online presence for right now. Until next time, my friends, this is Trev from Essence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. And those of you who care to, come back, roll back with me, and let us go into our morning chat.